this one's gonna upset some people. Hello! My name is Ella Jean, your local fantasy author, and it's important to note for the sake of this video, I've been working on the same series for the last 8 years. Yes! It's a return of the videos where I give you all the details on my very personal series, Whispers in the Shadows, for you all, for inspiration, information, and most likely, entertainment. Today, thought it was important to talk about the dreaded first draft. Because after you come up with your wonderful idea, and do all the world building, and planning, and outlining, and fantasizing, and sitting in your shower coming up with scenes that are going to make your readers cry one day, you have to write the damn book. When I initially restarted Whispers in the Shadows, I didn't expect to exactly finish it. Talked about it a lot in the last video in this series. I wrote purely for vibes at that point, and rarely finished books before I had another shiny idea that popped into my head. I know I'm not alone in that thought. I know I'm not the only person in the writing community who drowns in half-started drafts of random works in progress that will never see the light of day. In fact, this seems to be a very common issue writers face for no reason at all. I'm usually the odd one out in my writing circles, in that I really only have 2 stories I'm working on right now. But that's the place I started Whispers in. In high school, I had probably about 16 different drafts. And I want to make it very clear, if that's the way you write, go for it. There are hobbyist writers who simply live to world build, and if they never complete a book, they don't care. And there are definitely professional writers who throw themselves at a draft for years until they think it's perfect. I support that completely. Enjoy your stories and worlds, good friends. But I want to write for my career, as in paying all my bills in a capitalist society. And even more, at that time, I wanted to prove I could finish a story. But when you stare at what a first draft entails, it's so daunting. I didn't go in with a plan. However, there ended up being 2 strategies that saved my life. Probably very questionable strategies. You're not gonna get these in like every strategy video. This is for those people who have been searching for the thing that'll fix their brain. First one, I shared my work chapter by chapter. Yup! And the other, once it was written, I couldn't edit until the book was done. I am pausing for the gasps of horror from all the introverted and perfectionist writers living with anxiety. I hear you. I'm here for you. I am you. I was you. This is still what works. You have to trust someone with the first strategy. I know you should trust someone, and you live in a world where I hope that you have someone that you trust, but trusting someone with a completely unedited first draft is incredibly hard. I chose my mother. My mother, who I have a very good relationship with my mother. My mother loves me and will never say anything wrong about me. Is that good for an editor? No. Is it good for this process? Yes. Next thing is, I sent her a few chapters at a time. They were weird chapters that I didn't even know where it was going, and she would ask me things and be like, I wonder if Bree is lying to Naya when she said she contacted her brother, since that would be a really easy manipulation tactic. And I would be like, she is now! And that would be how the chapters went forward, because it was a good idea and I stole it. Love you, Mom. You are not looking for someone to hardcore judge this book. In fact, someone who may be judgmental of the book may be the wrong move here. I'm not sure why she put up with my writing, because it was questionable at times. It didn't make sense. She couldn't even offer insight if she wanted to, because there's so much weirdness to sift through to even get to what I was saying. But there is nothing like having a champion in your corner. And that is what you are looking for. Support is how you find the energy to write. If I didn't have my mom damn hounding me for more chapters, those chapters could have died in my head and the story would be gone. Instead, Mom would text me at midnight and I'd have the computer open and she's like, "You written anything?" And I'd be like, "No, I'm still staring at a blank page." And she's like, "I want to know what happens next." She really didn't like when I'd give her chapters that ended at a cliffhanger and like characters almost dying and then I'm still sitting through being like, "Ooh, does this character die?" And Mom's like, "They better not." Mom has watched this story grow just like me. And having a community around your story, someone who sees potential in it, even when you might not, it is life-changing. Now we have that small other little piece of advice to deal with. Sharing chapter by chapter is one thing. It's scary to find someone you trust to that. But I know there are people horrified in the corner that I'm suggesting once something is written, you don't edit it. That advice, depending on who I tell, is either inspiring or utterly horrifying. And once again, perfectionists, I'm here to hold your hand, but please hear me out. These are going to be hard words for people to hear. If your style of writing is to edit the chapter, the scene, the moment you just wrote until it's perfect, then move on to the next, it is going to be difficult to ever finish a book. I want to make it very clear, advice in the writing world is not one size fits all. I'm sure you can find examples of people that this is the style that works for them. But if you are struggling to finish a book, this could be why. To write a good book, you can't expect perfection, because writing is a creative process. There is no perfect solution. This isn't A plus B equals C. A plus B can equal anything. I would find myself editing each chapter and then feeling useless because I would add on another scene and suddenly the edits in the first chapter didn't make sense because scene 2 changed it, and I liked scene 2 better because I understood scene 2 more, so now I had to go back and edit scene 1. And if you go that way through an entire book, you're gonna get burnt out. I wrote Whispers in the Shadows straight through. Once it was committed to the page, that was immortalized in the first draft. This means the beginning of my book does not match the end. This is not a polished first draft, but first drafts are just meant to exist. I would add something halfway through. It has no link to the first section. I would just move forward like it had. Best example of this is the Republic of Nesca. This is my rebellious human faction, trying to come in from Nuon to disrupt the Feast of Yithis. They are literally where the phrase, "We will not be whispers in the shadows," comes from, the title of my book. They are the reason Naya gets to disobey Queen Celia at the end. They give her another option. They give her an escape. I added them because I used a generator to make a map of my world. In a moment of writer's block when I couldn't get anything to write, I was just like, I'll make a map. The map had an unexplained island on it. It was the perfect map. It fit everything else, but there's just this damn island. And I'm not good with technology, so editing out that island was not an option. I labeled it Republic of Nesca and went with it. There is literally no setup in the first half of the book. The ending was supposed to have Naya accuse the Iron Court of being evil to save herself, following the plan of Queen Celia. Rebellious humans did not even cross my mind. To add it in would cause so many edits. It was daunting to be halfway through and know so much needed to be reworked to make this idea now that I had possible. This little spark. So I just acted like it had been added, and it was easier to write. I fell in love with the Republicanesca, I realized all the good it could do, and suddenly the editing at the end that I would deal with later seemed worth it. And I could just flow through writing the first draft. Want to make it very clear, this means draft 2 is a lot to edit. There's going to be things that don't make sense that need to be figured out, but because I wrote straight through, there was something to edit. There was a complete world, and because it was complete, with puzzle pieces that had been hammered in with a goddamn hammer, I had fallen in love with it. Because that's really the hard part when it comes to continuing a story. If you fall out of love with it, if it becomes too difficult, then other shiny new ideas get their tentacles in you and pull you away from it. But once you've written it, you know the world and the characters and the plot. It's not going to let you stop until you've given it the proper justice. This is how you finish a first draft. You can't edit a blank page. It's difficult to properly edit an unfinished book because the story hasn't been revealed yet. This has been my strategy for all the stories I have going forward. There's only 2 that I ever thought were good enough to edit after. Whispers, and then For Those Who Seek Magic, which is the contemporary fantasy I'm trying to put out and publish eventually. But I fell in love with them because they were messy first drafts. Because I saw the potential it had and I was ready to edit it into what I had in my mind, no matter the cost. So let me know below how you guys get the fabled first draft finish. And subscribe for more writing content. I have some Fiverr gigs linked below. I feel very embarrassed plugging this sort of thing. But if you want to let me beta read your novel, let me know. Hit me up. It's not that expensive. And as always, I am prepared to turn all of Whispers over to you. Show every draft and every page because I want it to be a way for others to learn. Writing is difficult, and daring to continue past the first page is brave, especially with the way the world is right now. And I want to build a community with you because anyone can write, and everyone has a story in them. Thanks. Apparently you guys like Crazy Ella, so Crazy Ella may be here to stay.